All right, welcome into the program. We are live with CLIPA. My guest today is a very special guest. Love him to death. Such a good guy. Known him a long time, and looking forward to hearing what he has to say today. Welcome, Mr. Dan Platta.
It's good to be here. Now's a good time for me to open a beer, I think.
Yep. You're on the stage. Flash it. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I've got Coors Light. It's still the middle. It's the middle of the day. I got to keep her light,
Okay.
Got to stay hydrated.
Let's talk about beer. Let's talk about that real quick. It's a little bit off topic, but let's get to know Dan. How many beers do you think you drink? Let's just start with in a week.
Actually, I'm going to change your question a little bit like a politician. I really think it'd be cool to have like lifetime stats. And we're probably not too far away with AI where you like would have a stat on how many times you've put a right sock on, your foot. And I think like how many beers I've had in a lifetime would be a cool stat to have.
That would be pretty interesting. I don't think you're going to be able to figure that out, but you can guesstimate.
Well, the downside would be then you're like trying to make it higher, which would cause you to drink even more, which is not the best thing in the world. I don't know. I probably I'm somewhere between 20 and 30 beers a week, I bet.
Okay.
Tell my doctor.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I just went to the doctor the other day and he asked that question and I put 10 on the application. I was like, yeah, it's more like 20.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, whoa.
I like to spread them out. I'm not like I'm not getting drunk. I just like to spread some beers out.
There you
like
go.
This one.
Good call. Did you even take a sip of that beer you just opened? I don't think I saw you. Okay, now there you go.
Make sure it tastes like cold beer.
Yeah, good. Make sure it's cold and refreshing. Good. Well, welcome, Dan. I love having you in. And let's hear. You got some new stuff rolling these days. So let's hear about what Dan's got going on the calendar for you. What are you doing?
I did like a little restart. I started a new bookkeeping business. I had a bookkeeping business, and but I wasn't the sole owner of it. And I was like, man, this is just my jam. I should like own my shit. So started a new bookkeeping business, and I totally Danified it. I'm wearing the best damn shirt right now. Which side is it on? The camera reverses it.
All right.
I got a beer mug in my logo.
Yeah,
like not messing around. Best.
Are you sponsored by Under Armour? Are you sponsored or?
Maybe I sponsor them. I don't know. I haven't seen a check show up yet. But
why Under Armour? How come not Nike? How come not Fila or something like that?
Oh, like for a really good reason. I went on Amazon and these were the most cost-effective shirts that I could get like 4 different colors in. And I like having a long sleeve shirt that I can go like capri style sleeve with. I like to be able to go, but I want the full option too. I got some polos too. You'll see my whole wardrobe when we're down in San Diego together.
You're going to bring your entire wardrobe out to
bring the entire closet with all 4 shirts that I own.
I cannot wait to see that. Mm-hmm. Your closet. I have a lot more shirts these days, but a lot of random shirts. I hold on to shirts. Like I still wear shirts from high school. If it's still like
I do have some now. One of my shirts was the shirt I was wearing when I met my wife, like our first date. I still have it. I mean, it's damn near see-through at this point, but it's from 8th grade. Still fits me. Still fits me.
I love that. I think you got me beat. Let's talk about shirts real quick. This is just way.
We're already going.
This is what happens when Dan and Matt get together. We just talk about random shit. So, what is your favorite shirt?
I think it's that one, but now I don't wear it as much because it's so thin. But it's like if there was one shirt in my closet where you just said like that's the shirt. Like there's just nostalgia there. But it does make me think back. It says Wesa on it. It's like an old soccer shirt from our soccer team when I was in 8th grade. But it's like. The cotton is so worn down, like it's almost like you're wearing nothing. It's like one of those shirts. It's just super comfortable. Yeah. Fits right. But it does make me think like when I was in 8th grade, I must have been swimming in that thing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to apologize to our viewers. We have about 250,000 people watching us right now.
Definitely.
We have construction going on the rooftop. So if you're hearing the drilling and the pounding and all that fun stuff, it always comes on when I'm on a Zoom. So I do apologize.
You guys are just working hard, just doing hard stuff.
We're getting a new roof. So anyway, I apologize in advance. So that's cool. So it's just something from a sports team that you probably tried to make but never made, type thing. And maybe it
was like the city soccer team where you couldn't even get cut. Like there was no team to be made. It was just like as long as you paid the invoice at the beginning of the year, you got in. But
I'll tell you what my favorite shirt is. I'm gonna not that you asked, but I'm gonna tell you.
No, but I do want to know. Like that was where we were going.
Blink 182.
Oh man, I do like me some Blink.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's a Blink-182 shirt, and I always get made
Is
fun
it
of.
like tied to an album? Is it like from a specific album?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know if it is. It's an
Is it
old
the
school one.
dudes? Like, does it have all three dudes on it?
No, it didn't have any of them. It just says Blink, and then it's got. God, it might be from Enema State, maybe. I
The
don't
one
remember.
with the one with the nurse, the hot chick nurse chick on it.
Yeah, but she's not on the shirt. So I just love that shirt. I wear it all the time, and people are like, "Oh man, look at you!
Hey,
You think you're young?" I'm like, "Well, you know what? I actually went to
you're the
school.
same age as Mark and Tom now, so it's
I,
probably.
I went to
Right.
school with Tom, so yeah,
Did you really?
yeah, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, he got
I
kicked out of
just
Poway, if I remember this correctly, and then briefly he was ranch, so he was just hopping around different schools. So, but yeah, he
I
went
could
to
see Tom getting kicked out of his school for being a smartass. Seems
yeah,
like something that would have been up his alley.
yeah,
I just
exactly. So,
no lie, like growing up, Blink was for sure like favorite band by a long shot. And
no, yeah.
I didn't realize they had come out with some newer material lately, and I just bought their album like 2 weeks ago, their most
Yeah.
recent one. It's pretty good
And
stuff.
the new stuff is just as good as the old stuff. I love going back and listening to the old stuff. I'm not sure how we got on Blink-182. Oh, I know how we
Sure.
got on.
We're going from
This is like,
beer to t-shirt to Blink-182.
I could talk about Blink-1. I'm trying to get him to CLIPA Con. If I can get them to come play at CLIPA Con,
I think they should pay you to come to CLIPA Con. They'd have so much fun hanging out with us.
Initially, they didn't like that idea, and I was like, "Come on, bro. Do you know
okay,
who I
fine.
am?"
We'll let you come for free.
Yes. So anyway, let's move on to Dan. So you have this new bookkeeping. That's what you're doing.
Started a new bookkeeping business, just doing nerdy number stuff and helping people run their business better.
So how can you help people like bookkeeping? What does that entail?
I think it's got a bad, not a bad rap. It has just like a nerdy, misunderstood rap for being something that we all need to do our taxes at the end of the year. And therefore it's super boring and lame and like a thing we'll worry about later. But I ran a pile of home service businesses in my day. And we always found that the thing that helped us run the business best was obviously knowing our numbers, knowing when we were winning, when we were losing, and what was causing that to happen. And so bookkeeping to me is that activity of how do we organize this shit so we can tell what's happening?
Yeah.
And then what do we do with it? Because at the end of the day, we're all, if you're watching this, you're probably owning a small business. And I don't care if you're hanging Christmas lights or if you do some pressure washing on the side or you're adding landscape lighting, you're just in the business of making decisions.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter what you're doing. You are in the business of making decisions, and every single decision you ever make when you're a business owner is a financial one to some degree. Yeah. Even your employee engagement decision is a financial one. And so therefore you should have really good measurements of what those decisions are doing and what's working and what's not working. And that's where bookkeeping comes into play. We help people make better decisions and make more money.
Got it. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of a business owner is not knowing their numbers, and a lot of people, oh yeah, I'm making money. Well, are you sure? Are you sure you're making money? And when you actually get to the bottom line, they are not making, as much money as they thought.
Yep.
What do you see as you take over books and stuff like that? What do you see as the biggest, pitfall or biggest, hurdle that entrepreneurs, are making the mistake? What mistakes are they making when you take over their books?
It depends on which level they're at. I call them purgatories, and good foreshadowing, because that's what I'm going to be talking about at CLIPA, is these levels where we get stuck because a new set of decisions and problems arises that weren't the same set of decisions and problems we were just trying to solve. And so when people start out, it's usually that they did the thing and they made good money doing it, and now they need to start hiring other people to do it. Yeah. And they're trying to figure out how to hire people and how to manage people. And are they charging enough? Because a lot of times when people start out, they're not charging enough. Sure. They just charge enough to pay for themselves, but not to pay for a business. That's and right. Infrastructure and all that stuff. And they neglect to pay themselves a wage. They take distributions, but they don't put themselves on payroll. And so in turn, they end up hiring somebody to go out and do the work. And then that person doesn't work for free. It turns out like that person usually wants to get a paycheck. Yep. And because you weren't or aren't taking a paycheck, you don't have built into your business model to afford to be able to pay somebody else to go do work. Yeah. Like what you thought was profit was really just your paycheck. Now you're paying it to somebody else and you go, oh shit, there ain't no money left for me. Yeah. And so I see that happen to a lot of early on businesses as they're starting to like figure out their way, is they're usually just not charging enough and they're not putting themselves on payroll soon enough to measure themselves as a cost. Sure. They treat themselves like an owner, but not an operator. And you kind of got to be both.
So they're operating off a gross profit. I mean, you look at the gross profit, you're like, wow, this is great. But
Look
then
at
you
the
have
money I made.
all these little line items right below it that are called expenses, right? So if you have a true business you're running, you have those expenses that eat away at your gross profit. So
They get you. They're out to
they
get you. But they're
oh,
all like, one of the ways I like to look at it is, and when I do a bookkeeping demo with people, I get really annoying about it. I'm like, and I'm sure you're in tune with this, but I try to bang it into people's heads like everything after your gross profit is an investment. It might be an expense on the profit and loss, but every time you spend money down there after the work has been done, you're spending money on marketing, spending money on administrative resources to measure stuff, follow up with clients, customer service, sales, all that stuff. You start spending money on infrastructure, whether it's like a location to rent or storage or Tinsel CRM software to help you run the business. And then you spend money on variable stuff like going to CLIPA Con and events and things like investments in you and your team. So you start making all these investments. And as with any investment, it has to make you more money. You would never put money in the stock market and just be like, okay, peace, like all done, right? If you're going to go put money into a thing, you expect it to make you more money. And so on your profit and loss, like everything after gross profit has to be an investment where you can look at it at some point and say, yeah, I put money into this marketing thing and it generated more revenue. I hired this admin person and they were able to help me generate more revenue. I went to CLIPA Con and learned all this cool shit and was able to generate more revenue with that. And so I think it's super important that as we look at our data, we're looking back at how did this help us grow the business? And frankly, if it didn't, and I actually tell people this on my demo calls with them when we're doing bookkeeping stuff, like if you hire us and we don't help you make more money, we are a shitty investment and you sure as hell ought to fire us.
There you go.
Because we're just an investment.
Yeah.
We need to make you more money or we are a bad investment.
Sounds like you're reciting some of Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Am I? I don't know. I've never read it.
Okay. Well, you should read that because.
But I like, maybe he's reciting me, man. Why is he?
So the interesting thing about that book is he talks about basically, you pay yourself last. That's the norm. As a bookkeeper, you probably tell that, oh, you pay yourself last. You pay your expenses first. They say the opposite in this book is they say you pay yourself first and then everything else. And it's talk about building assets and all that fun stuff. Make your assets work for you. And I just, you brought that up. So I was like, wow, Dan, you must have read that book, but I forgot you can't read. So
I don't know how to read. I do. Okay. I mean, that's why Audible was created, right? For people like me. I'm a numbers guy. I'm not a letters guy. Letters are lame. Numbers, baby.
Well, go get the Audible. It's a great book. So
actually, I think I own it on Audible. I just haven't listened to it yet. I do. I'm like 99% sure I have it on Audible.
Half the battle is buying it. The second half is actually listening to it.
Hashtag visionary, right? Like I'm really good at getting stuff 90% of the way there. I need my team to get it the rest of the way there. So maybe I can have a VA listen to it for me and then tell me about it.
There you go. Good idea. Yeah. I like that. So let's talk about CLIPA Con. Let's talk about this is your, well, I don't want to say officially 4th, 5th year speaking because, you kind of.
I had to do one
year. Your whole family.
One time, Rob had to be ventriloquist for me.
Yeah, that's right. Rob was up there stage for you.
Yeah. I don't know if I was the ventriloquist or he was, but somehow one of us was.
I don't know. I didn't walk in the room because I was like, this is a disaster. This is going to be a disaster. So I didn't want to see what was about to happen. So I stayed out of the room and just crossed my fingers. But sounds like it went pretty well. So that would have been Nashville. You didn't make it to Nashville this last year at the Sahara in Vegas. We didn't see you out.
They don't let me in Vegas anymore.
Okay, so you were not able to go because of the restrictions Nevada has on you.
Is it Nevada? I thought it was just the city of Vegas. Maybe it is Nevada now.
Okay. Know. Yeah, I don't know. So
no, that was when I was going through all my business, like tear down and rebuild, and didn't really know what the future was. So it would have been weird going to a convention and not really knowing who I was.
Yeah, we were wondering why you were dodging us and not.
I was having an identity crisis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you got past that. And let's talk about what you're going to speak at CLIPA Con this year.
I like to talk. So I do need to say this, and I'm fighting this one hard. My parents are pressuring me to go to my grandma's 90th birthday, which is over the time that CLIPA Con is. And I'm like, I get it. Like grandma's turning 90. I think I'm going to come back and see grandma first because I already bailed on Matt the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And that feels pretty shitty. I don't like that. I like Matt,
All right,
and I don't
Grandma,
want to
if
bail
you're
on him.
watching this live, sorry about that.
I mean, I'm gonna go back and see my grandma. She's
Yeah.
awesome. I gotta go see my grandma.
Yeah.
I might just not be at the party, but
Yeah. There you go.
frankly, like it's probably be better party if I wasn't there. I'm just gonna
So
drink all the
is
beers.
that what you're talking about? Is that what you're speaking at CLIPA Con? Is your
My
grandma?
grand, yeah, I'm talking about my grandma.
Okay.
No, I like to do. I want to talk about the purgatories of scaling because I think when Holiday Lights started, it was just a lot of us that got into it. I mean, when I signed up with you guys, 2017, Ryan Fox will have to tell us. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was there. He was there for it.
Ryan knows everything.
He does. He does. But I felt like when I was signing up for it, it was like an extension of an existing business that we had. And it was like a cool add-on thing to make a few bucks. And it's really, I mean, thanks to you guys, it has taken off, right? And it's like a staple business now where it can create a whole lot of livelihood.
Yeah.
And as you do that and you start scaling that thing, like scaling a business is a way different skill set than starting a business or even just doing an add-on service to make a few bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And we run into situations we haven't run into before, problems we haven't solved before. And I have a cool lens doing nerdy bookkeeping stuff that I get to see where businesses get stuck and what's the thing that's causing them to get stuck. And believe it or not, we all kind of get stuck in the same spots. And there's a lot of content out there about the levels of business. Like a level 1 business looks like this, and a level 2 business looks like this, and then a level 3 looks like this. But it's the spot in between the levels where you're like crying at night and banging your head against the wall and posting shit on Facebook, and then you get terrible advice from like half the people, but you don't really know what's good advice and bad advice. Yeah. And so my talk is all about the shitty spots and how to reduce the suck in there and get through them as fast as possible so you can get back to a sweet spot where you're making good money and having fun again.
Man, I love that.
And part of it is it sucks extra hard when you hit one of those spots and you don't know that it's coming. Yeah. One of the worst ones is when you're like at $1 million. Being at $1 million sucks, but we all want to be there. Like it's a cool, highly coveted number. And when you get there, you kind of go like, oh shit, this sucks. I thought I'd be making more money. And I'm doing all this work and making hardly any money. And I don't know how to solve these problems. JC Chinowski, also known as Jared on Facebook. Yeah. He had that happen to him this last year where it's like, guy's growing an awesome business and he'll be the first one to tell you like, yeah, I got there and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And now it's just a new set of problems to figure out how to solve. And when you're a bigger business, money can go out the door even faster.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's nice. You have a lot of resources, but resources cost money and they can take a lot of money and there goes all your money. So I just want to talk about that and how to alleviate some of those pains. And so much of it is just if you know it's going to happen, it feels a lot less shitty because you decided to make it happen. It didn't surprise you. So
you feel like you have the answers to the solutions to someone getting to that rut, like JC. And JC is going to be one of our speakers as well. He'll be on. I'll be interviewing him next week. So
heck yeah.
Yeah. So him and Angela, they're going to be speaking together. So looking forward to that. So you think you have the answers to how to get someone out of that rut, how to get them to the next level?
The answers are a little bit different for everybody because we have different skill sets and there's so many ways to run a profitable business. It's not like, oh, it's got to be this way. Like what you enjoy and what you like to work on is going to dictate how you get through it. But there's a handful of things that create the stickiness. And what's causing it for this person might be different than what's causing it for that person. But it's usually just like a set of decisions. Back to the bookkeeping thing. It's a set of decisions that I see that keep getting people hung up. Yeah. And so if you know which of those decisions tends to be your pain point there and which one you're naturally good at and which one maybe you're not so good at, you can focus on the right thing, spend what you need to spend to get through it, invest in the right stuff to get through it to keep moving forward. Yeah. Or frankly, like in some cases, depending on where you're at in your life and what you got going on, I got 3 little kids. Like my focus is not, I want to grow a $10 million bookkeeping business. Like that sounds miserable right now. Someday that's going to sound fun, but like you also have to decide the set of problems that you want. And maybe you hang out in a sweet spot before you decide to endure that next set of problems. And so again, if you know that next set of problems is coming, it's nice when you can decide if you want to take it on and know that that's what's next.
Yeah.
And sometimes like you might hang out in a sweet spot and just be extra profitable for a while before you decide it's the right time to go take on that next set of problems.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong answer, right? But it sucks when you don't know you're about to encounter that set of problems and then you run into it. And once you're in it, it's like quicksand.
Sure.
You're like stuck in the mud, and it's expensive to go backwards too. So just getting clarity on it so you can decide for yourself where the right spot is for you for where you're at in your life at that time.
Sure. Well, it sounds like a great talk, and hopefully the JCs that are out there, will come to your watch you speak, because I think there's a lot of valuable information there that can help them in their businesses. So really looking forward to it. It's going to be May 2nd, Thursday. He'll be speaking in the Shell Room. So I'm excited to have you there. We'll have the beautiful backdrop. If you don't want to stare at Dan, you're going to be able to look at the bay behind him. So we did that.
I might as well just stay home again, and I'll just be over the audio so everybody can look outside. Like my physical presence wouldn't add value if that's
like an AI generated like Dan or something
like a little hologram thing.
Yeah, I think that would
hologram thing.
Yeah, so we don't actually have to physically see you.
Yeah, you at least be able to see through me.
Yeah. So Dan, looking forward to it. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time, and looking forward to see you at CLIPA Con. Come see Dan and all the other speakers that we have lined up May 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be awesome. So we're really looking forward to it. It's coming up quick. It's in 2 weeks. So May 2nd and 3rd. We do have some pre-show classes going on May 1st if you want to join us for that. We have a multi-seasonal lighting class that we're going to be teaching. And that's going to, if you want to expand outside just the holiday season, those few months, we're going to teach you how. We're going to teach you permanent lighting solutions for rooftops, trees, all sorts of stuff. So come out and join us for that. So you can purchase tickets by visiting CLIPA.com, and you'll see all the stuff under CLIPA Con. We also have a sales boot camp class. So if you are struggling with commercial sales, or you want to take that next step from residential into commercial, we have a commercial sales boot camp that Chelsea Fernetton is going to be teaching. She handles all of our marketing and sales for our commercial division here in Southern California. She's going to teach you all the tricks that she has to offer. So if you're ready for this, make sure you bring your phones, because she is going to make you smile and dial. She actually is going to make you cold call. So be ready. If you don't want to join yourself, maybe send your sales staff. She'll teach them a lot of good stuff. So looking forward to that. So once again, May 2nd and 3rd, join us there. And Dan Platta, want to thank you again for joining us, and you have a great day and enjoy that Coors Light.
Cheers.
Cheers.